Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praise, honor, glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushua, Bahashem, Wakah HaKodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who ruled well and taught me this truth. Peace, blessings, salutations, and mercies to the elect, and the one-third remnant out there listening and doing this word with all faith and sincerity, scattered amongst the nations and the four corners of the earth. To you I say Shalom. Lord willing, this video is edifying. It's going to be sent around this article. Salakia. This article, which is going to bring me to the topic of this unspoken nuclear arms race that's going on right now. Okay. The state of the world is very volatile. These nations understand that the next progression is World War III, and they're preparing for it. Okay. Meanwhile, in the headlines, you're not really hearing, too much discussion about this because of the panic that it would cause amongst the people. But behind closed doors, this is a very known thing. Okay, this is TheGuardian.com, and it's entitled North Korea's Exponential Nuclear Program, while Kim Jong-un is racing to expand his arsenal. Okay, so it's talking about North Korea and Kim Jong-un, which will be Moab. Okay. They're actively working on expanding their nuclear arsenal. Okay. And they're not the only ones. All right. Best believe this is a trend that everybody's following. The heightened rhetoric from Pyongyang has left analysts asking why North Korea appears to need so many nuclear weapons. And we know why, because they need to use them. Well, ultimately, there's a quota to be met, and that quota is 200 million. According to, the Holy Scriptures, that is what must happen. These nations are going to build up their arsenals to numbers in which, people won't even believe. They're not going to believe it, in fact, until it happens. Until we're there. Until these missiles are fired off to their destinations, prospective destinations. Okay? And most of these missiles are gonna go to America. Okay. And that's thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. This is Revelations 9:16. And the army, and the number of the army of the two horsemen, Salakia, is Revelations 9:16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them. Right. And it's not just talking about normal horsemen. It's talking about those thermonuclear missiles, because when you read it, right, you go into verse 17. Okay. It talks about the makeup of these nuclear missiles. Okay. Matter of fact, I'm going to just read it. And thus I saw the horses in the vision, and them that sat on them having breastplates of fire and of jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouth issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Okay, and when you look up jacinth, is one of the primary components of a of a nuke. Okay, which would be like sulfur, right? Let's go into it. All right, so nothing really there. Let's see what we can find. Jasoneth use Jasoneth uses. Okay, reddish brown variety of zircon. Historically, it was gemstone. Here we go. Let me, because it goes back to sulfur, right? When you read in verse 17 in NIV, the horses and riders I saw in my vision looked like this. Their breastplates were fiery blue, or fiery red, dark blue, and yellow as sulfur. And it was sulfur. Okay, because when I have to go into it. When you break down these components of a matter of fact, let me ask this: is Jason used in nuclear? There we go. Boom. Yep. So Jasoneth is an essential material in the nuclear power plant industry, right? And then it goes on, when it says brimstone, it mentions sulfur, which is also a key ingredient in a nuclear warhead. Okay, so this isn't just talking about an ordinary horse. Okay. And he said the heads of lions, right, which represents their power, man. Because that's where the actual warhead is stored. And the tip, which would be the head, right? And out of their mouths issue fire and smoke and brimstone. Because once they detonate, that's exactly what comes out. That's all that you see. Okay, the scriptures say the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Okay, and that's what these missiles are built to do. Matter of fact, the Lord designed these missiles to do exactly that. Okay, that's the sole purpose of them, to destroy. Okay, and leave nothing else behind. Okay, because this is all serving, the purposes of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, right? All serving prophecy. This is Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. And I have created the waster to destroy. And that's exactly what the Lord has done. He's put it in the mind of these Edomites to create this weaponry in which, man has never possessed before, since he's, he's been on earth, right? Since we've been created, since creation, man has never possessed this capability. Okay? And the Lord used Esau to bring it out, and he distributed it amongst the nations. He's going to use it. Okay. And it's going to be used on Esau Edom. Okay. To eradicate this place, America, which is the hegemon, the stronghold of Edom. Okay. So when this place goes down, Esau is going down with it. And it's going down in World War III. This is Revelations 11 and 14. The second war is past, and behold, the third war cometh quickly. Right, so World War I passed, World War II passed, and World War III, although it tarry, wait for it, for it shall surely come, it will not tarry. World War III is coming. Matter of fact, we're here. Why do you think that's the sentiment? Salakia, because they understand that and they see that. Okay? They know that this is where it's all headed. All right? And it's all gonna, spawn from that war over there in the Valley of Jehoshaphat between Iran and Israel. Okay? So these nations, they know that, so they're preparing. Okay? They're preparing. And they're going to be ready. Okay, this is Joel 3:10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. And that's what they're doing. North Korea, during Trump's first term, was a pipsqueak, nobody. And then they got that bomb, and all of a sudden, they're no longer in the headlines, right? Because for a long time, they were. All right? Talking about actions that should be taken to, put them in check and all that shit. And all of a sudden, they pop up with that bomb, with that goddamn it. And now all of a sudden, you hear no more rhetoric against them, because, Esau knows he can't fuck with that. He got the shit. He can match his energy, right? So to speak. So he laid off of him heavy. All right. And Iran is soon to follow. Okay, one of these days, sooner than later, the news is going to drop that they have the capabilities, or that they have the bomb itself. And all hell's going to break loose, man, because they're already in a hot war. So best believe those weapons are going to get used. And that's what all these nations are anticipating. Okay? They're anticipating the progression of this war. And this war escalated into a, international conflict. Okay? The likes in which has never been seen before. Okay? And it's going to end in a lot of devastation, man. 200,000, right? 200 million missiles or warheads. That is a number. I mean, that's damn near a warhead for every person in America, right? So, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be, it's going to be something in which, we've never seen before. All right. This is Joel 2:7. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war. And they shall march every one on his ways. And they shall not break their wings. Right. They're not going to miss their mark. They have satellite guidance. They have precision guidance. Matter of fact, the spirit of Yahweh Shemel Shah is going to be guiding those missiles, man. So there's not going to be an air defense system in the world that's going to be able to stop them once they're fired, man. And they're all going to hit their target here in America. That's why America is prophesied to become a lake of fire, man. I mean, we just know what one nuke, we seen the effects of one or two nukes. What about 200 million? And that was all the way back in 1945 when we seen, the nuclear weapons. Now they have, that's a tactical nuke in today's terms. So what the fuck do they have, that's considered something big? It's scary shit. Neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded, because there's not going to be a defense. Okay? They're going to hit their mark. There's nothing that's going to be able to stop them. Okay? They shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb upon the houses. They shall enter in at the windows like a thief, right? Because nobody's going to see it coming. It's going to happen so quick. You're going to hear that alarm, and then you're going to look up. And that's when people are going to realize, wow, those men on the corner were right? Because a lot of people, you tell them 200 million, well, they stop making missiles. They don't do that. That's against the Geneva Convention, and they signed a treaty. Like, they abide by any of that shit. Esau break all his covenants. Okay? Best believe, man, behind the scenes, they are rapidly producing these warheads and these components for these missiles, man. No doubt about it. All right? Because it only makes sense for them to do it. They, to sit up here and argue that they won't do it because it's not humanitarian is a foolish argument, man. Because what have they done that has been at the benefit of anybody outside of themselves, right? So, hey, it's happening. It may seem like nothing's happening, but behind the scenes, everything is happening. So with that, I give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bashim El Shah, Bashim Rakakodash, Wa Baba Ba, and DTA, DTN.